My name is Moses, my friends call me Prophet.
Yes, sir.
At around 4th grade, I started playing violin, and around 5th grade, I started playing drums. And so I was very serious about them. I took music lessons, I was in orchestra, and I felt like I always had to make music at some form growing up. And so going from violin and drums to rap wasn't a very big gap. I just felt like I was making music in a different form, and all the same things I learned carried over pretty smoothly. So Prophet is derived from my real name, Moses, and I didn't want to be like Lil Drug Money. I didn't want to be a lean Lil Zed. I didn't want to have that kind of persona because that's not really true to who I am. And I think that I wanted something as close to my real name as possible without literally being my name. If you look very closely now, I'm wearing a floral button-up. I'm not trying to be a thug. I don't think that's ever been my brand. And I don't present myself as being a gangster. That's never been me. And for people who that's very real for, I have all the respect in the world for that. But I just have a little bit of a different self-image, so I think that expresses itself in the way I make music and the way I present myself. I grew up in the Northeast, just a couple hours from Boston. You don't hear about the huge main rapper. You hear about people from the South. You hear about people from the West Coast. And it's a little more isolated, but I think that gave me an opportunity to try some things that were out of the box. I think that when I started doing things the way I do now, no, I wouldn't say unique. There are still people that do it, but it's far less prevalent than in a lot of other places. So up to the point where I got to Boston, I had only ever played instrumental music. And I never really considered making hip hop myself because I didn't have any friends who did that. And so coming here, my very best friend introduced me to this form of music I'm doing now. I would say I'm hip hop. I'd say rap, hip hop. I'm not too stingy with the titles. I find it's a little bit limiting sometimes to get locked down. But I do like to branch out in terms of style. So if you say hip hop or rap, I'm not mad, anything like that. Having some type of instrumental background can be a big benefit to a hip hop artist, can be a big benefit to any artist. You don't have to play an instrument, you don't have to have a background by any means, because there are there's a huge amount of very talented people who have no background in music and they do great. But I'm very fortunate to have that background for myself. And so I hope that the way I organize songs, the way I present the music, and the way I organize, in particular, rhythm, because rap stands for rhythm and poetry, the way I express my rhythm is very much affected by my musical background, and I hope that shows through when people listen to it. In the future, musically, I hope to expand what I'm doing now. I want to incorporate more of that classical violin background, more of the drum background. I've spent a few months learning how to produce, and so I hope to incorporate that as well. And generally, I just want to get better. I just want to advance. I just want to grow. I want to get even weirder with all my vocals, weirder with all my flows, and make my sound as unique and as hard-hitting as it can possibly be.
It'd be like, damned if I do, or like, damned if I don't. In the suit, in the blue coupe, in the do-rag, new boots on, he'll nigga coat. So I got my nickname from playing basketball at Washington Park. I didn't give it to myself necessarily. I actually hated it originally because I've always been short and chunky. So, but I was good at ball. Oh, I thought I was. If you earn a nickname, it's kind of like an embrace. And so they would call me Oompa Loompa Baby. You can't lob a pass saying that much. So it just ended up being Oompa. Like, it just kind of followed me forever. And I just embraced it. Why you always acting up in front of company? Why you always thinking you could come with me? Why you always want to come to comfort me? Do you think the games you run is comforting? I wrote battle raps for a long time. I would rewrite my favorite artists' songs, and I would like take out a word here, take out a phrase here, fill in my own until I learned how to kind of do that on my own. And we would do that a lot. And I put it away. I started to write poems in high school. And when I got back to college, I was like, man, I really miss rap. And then I like discovered that you can kind of do music. You can find music out in the universe, like, whoa, concept. And then start putting them together and figuring out what I liked and like using my influence from R&B and soul and funk and trying to like fuse them together. I listen to something, it tells me what it wants to be, and I'm like, cool. That's what you want to be? We're going to talk about that. Like, that's what we're going to be.
In my head, making me feel small, take up too much space, telling me you want me gone and that's my place. Tell me that I'm good for lost, my life's a waste. Pinch my cheeks, stare at my waist, and ask me how I'm gaining so much weight. You don't even want you at this rate, you say, but if I let you, you can take my place. Some family chosen, some chosen for you. I wish you go to hell, you make me go through. Man, I hate you and your shadow lurking, catapulting everywhere I might be joyful.
I think I exist at multiple different intersections, and I think it's important for me to like always be mindful of how I represent. I saw like two poets who were like black, masculine, and queer all at the same time talk about what it meant to be in these bodies, and I was like, yo, that's like, I heard this phrase like, oh, representation matters, and I was like, oh, that's cool, that's real cool, that's what's up. And then I felt it and I was like, oh, this changes lives.
This for the black girls and the brown ones, for the never like the glass girls and the ratchets, to the hustlers and the hoes, busting table CEOs, to the trans women, pan women, gender not conforming, to the women who persist in shopping in the men department when the world is just a normal. Tell the world you know you poppin'. Hey.
I want to be in the owning class. I've been in the submissive class my entire life. I've been in the asking class. I've been in the begging class. I've been in the quiet class. The you know, whatever. I've been in that class my entire life, and I want to be in the class that gets to determine stuff. So I want to be able to buy some of my city back. One, work on your craft like all the time. Like, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what resources you don't have. If you're nice and you're dirty at what you do, people can't deny you. Some of the best shows I've been to are people's basements. DIY is big because it's all we got. Like, all the funds from it come from however artists get their money to put back into themselves and to put back into the scene. And there's sort of like this economy of DIY stuff that fuels us all. Everything is somebody being like, okay, the city needs this, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. It needs a marketing agency, I'm gonna be that. It needs a talent agency, I'm gonna be that. It needs a venue, my living room is cool, you know? And I think that that's real special in terms of like building community and stuff.
Performing is just something so fun and so cathartic to me. Going to those big venues, having so many people there, it's really great to have all that energy there, and I think it was really thanks. You know, me being there was part of it. Me being there with my act was part of it. But I'd say a big part of that were my friends who came out and the people who I didn't even know who decided they wanted to support it. And so I think it really was community-based. It's a big team effort, and I think that's the most gratifying part of performing. I feel supported a lot of the time by other musicians and a lot of other people in the community. I do feel a little bit of stigma sometimes in that this community hasn't fully come to accept hip-hop in the way it's accepted a lot of other types of music. But for the artists within my genre and for those artists and genres that are compatible with my genre, I feel very supported. Everyone in this little sphere I'm in has been very supportive so far, so I'm happy to see that.
I think it's really cool that we get to do things on our terms, which I think not a lot of people can say that they get to do that. You know, the industry or whatever has to look at the city and say, yo, why aren't we here yet? It's a smart business move to build here. So if I make enough noise with the people around me who are also doing music, then hopefully they'll be like, all right, this is the spot to be. So it's really hard to stay here. It's really hard. I love my city. It's really hard, but I'm trying to do it. At any point in time, I could be featuring at an open mic at like a cafe. Started like the Middle East and the Great Scott, and then like the Sinclair, and I was like, oh, I set goals every year to like, I have this list. I'm like, if I need to touch every single one, and I'm like down all but one, like just the Paradise Rock Club, only one, I'm just saying.
I enjoyed playing at the Middle East. That was my favorite venue, playing in the downstairs, because it is really an intimate, closed environment that allows people to go crazy, to turn up a little bit, and do things that you may not do in a quote-unquote classier venue. I love playing the house parties. I love playing the smaller, grimy venues where people aren't very much concerned with their appearance. They're just concerned with having fun.
What they can do as artists is incredible. I think growing up, I didn't know that it was something to take serious. Like, I didn't know that, you know, just because I love being an artist, or like I thought I could have loved being an artist, I didn't know that it was sustainable, and most people would tell you not to do that. And I think having a place like ZooMix that not only tells you that you can, but like provides you resources to be able to do that is super dope. And they kind of like always hold their word, you know, like I was here when I was a young person, and as an adult, they, you know, helped me get on tour. But then I'm coming back here to do a show with the young people who have been growing, you know, like every year. Like it's fire. And I think that having accessible music is like, I know it's not a right, but it's kind of like it's kind of up there. No, I think that it's important to like if music is like it's a part of a cultural conversation, then I think people having access to that conversation is as important as the culture existing. So.
And even when they turned it off, gotta keep it going. Sing it out loud, sing it loud as you wanna. They wanna see you broken, so you gotta keep it going, man. You gotta keep it going. Hey.
I'm thankful, I'm grateful. Didn't promise us forever, but he made you.